Hey y'all. Is it damn screen? Damn camera. Well, just came out of meditation. So a little hooded, cloaked, whatnot. I had to go speak to a business partner, so to speak. Somebody I have a contract with. And I know it's old. It's my shit. It's not organic or nothing like that, but oud. It's a great ass scent. And I love these fucking incense, so anyway. Contracts. Like any other contract, you agree to the terms and conditions. Do you ever read the terms and conditions? No. You agree. I have read and understand and accept the terms and conditions. Well, that's why we're here now. What we signed up for. You have to think. If I am under a contractual agreement, if my life is one big contract, one big script, and I'm just enacting what was already written, was already in my script, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Every fuck up, every aha moment, every intuitive nudge. You are, the master of your destiny and this and that, and you can alter things. You do have free will, but you're still within certain parameters of the contract. You do have creative control. And there are times when people have forfeited their contract, and that's where you get walk-ins from. Over souls that step in and take over. Embodiment of different souls within the same human body. That's why, people can come out of a coma or traumatic events and they seem like a completely new person, near-death experiences and the like. But I'm not going into that per se. I'm just talking about the contract. Everybody that you encounter, you have a contract with, and some of them are short and sweet. A stranger you meet on the street, they tell you something that seems to be personal to you, but they know nothing about you and nothing of your experiences or anything, and they leave you with a word or a phrase or something very specific, and then you never see them again. They've fulfilled their contract. We have all these little mini contracts that are compounded onto the one of us coming back and living out this life and living out this experience, this mission, so to speak, this role that we're playing. So when it comes to people in our life, family is a contract, friends, lifelong friends, temporary friends, co-workers, managers, all these connections, lovers, they're contracts. And some people have come to an awareness, like say for instance my ex-boyfriend, it was a contract, and it felt the it didn't matter how much time went by, it felt like we were still connected, and it was so pressing, and it was little like messages being sent, whether they were figurative or literal. I knew he would be thinking about me because I'd be going about my day doing whatever. I haven't spoken in a year, haven't spoken in months or whatever, and his name would pop up, his birthday would pop up, and all these little signs and symbols, because the universe knows that I know that I'm aware of signs, symbols, words, billboard, things like that. Metatron, Archangel Metatron knows how to get my attention. And he's very quick, very sharp, very straight to the point. Put his name in a fucking movie I'm watching, and I just keep hearing it over and over, a nickname that I made for him, which were his initials. And it was like, oh man. And then I leave my house after watching the movie, I see his name. I go to the store and my total is his birthday. It's like, okay, what? He's on the way. He's thinking about me. We're still bound by contract. We're still energetically linked. We're still soulfully connected, contractually. It felt like going through a divorce. And I've never been married. But the breaking away, or the finality of, or coming to a conclusion of this contract was so, it was so tumultuous. It was like, man, one person didn't want to one person wanted to renew the contract, another person wanted to end the contract completely. Once we have finished the contract, then we can consider later on if we're negotiating new terms and this and that. This person wanted to keep the current contract going. I was like, no, no fucking way. We're not bringing old shit from this contract into a new situation or anything like that. So we can't pick up where we left off or none of that. So this is an example of a contract with a soulmate. Now, other soulmates, that was a season. Another contract can be a reason, like to help another awaken, right? You have a certain vibration or level or information that will trigger someone else's ego death. You're a mirror to them, what their soul needs at that time, to show them what they look like. And it starts to turn inward. They start to get glitches in their own environment, and they start to question what they're doing, how they're doing it, how they're coming across, how they're appearing, what they're saying, what it means. And when they get the moment and it clicks, they take it and they look back at what has already transpired with that new line of sight, with that new focus, with that new a renewed sense of vision or eyesight that you've given them. You've kind of flipped it. You flipped it and turned it upside down. When I was talking about the eyes, you flipped it and turned it upside down so they could see it in a truer light. So they go back and they look over everything. They're flipping through the pages of their script, of their book, of what has already transpired, what they've already done, what has happened. And this is where people start to realize it takes some people longer than others. This shit didn't happen to me, it happened for me. Because if this didn't happen, I wouldn't be in this position, or I wouldn't have met. I wouldn't have met this person, or I wouldn't have come across this opportunity, or now they start to piece together a series of events triggered by their reactions, actions, or reactions to certain events. Contracts, man. There are clauses. You can get out of them. I don't think I've ever used a clause. Honestly. I prefer to just ride it out. I'm a little old-fashioned. Let me just fulfill my contract, fulfill my commitment, and get the fuck on. It's kind of like signing a contract for a job, or, or whatever. And when you get in there, it's not just the basic duties and descriptions that you were given. It's some extra shit. It's underlying shit that you didn't know you were going to encounter. It's like, man, that's why people are like, man, I didn't sign up for this. Sometimes people sign contracts with, like buying a car, you buy a limit. That's why newer cars, newer dealerships like Georgia, they have a anti-limit law. if it's, breaks down on you or there's some major issue, then 30 days you can get all your damn money back, because it is unlawful to give you a piece of shit. But you go to a private seller or somebody who doesn't have that ethics, those ethics, that those morals, you really don't know what you're signing up for. You just, well, it looks good. You didn't feel it out or really investigate. You're going to sign a contract with people that you really don't want to fulfill once you get into the details of it, because you didn't read the terms and conditions. You didn't sift through the vital information before you signed. Energetically, you're signing contracts all the fucking time with people. Um, all the time. Even in your mind, or having an ex and saying something like, I'll never love anybody as much as I love you, or um, best friends. I'm your best friend forever. We'll never part, this and that. Family members, making promises while you're in a elevated state of elation. You can't promise those things. It's when you're not in that vibratory state that the contract is most evident and most pressing. You start to reevaluate. I promised something. I agreed to something very specific in this contract to this person. Now I feel obligated to fulfill it, to be there for them, um, to hold their hand, to be their support system, and what have you. You have to renegotiate your contracts. Just like a lease agreement, it's good for a year, then it's come up for reevaluation. With a particular person, I chose the eclipse, the total solar eclipse in 2017, August. I spoke my truth and I spoke my piece, and the terms and conditions were agreed to. During that contractual time, they were not upheld, they were not completely nullified either. They were still, there was certain things that were fulfilled and certain things that were not. And upon the full total solar eclipse in January, it's time to renew. Let's talk about it, right? And we have eclipses throughout the years. Sometimes they're not total, sometimes they're partial, they're penumbral, and whatever. But there's an eclipsing that still happens. This year, it was in Capricorn. It will be in Capricorn again in December. It's going to be in Cancer as well. But there's another, and it's aligned with the North and South nodes. So, yeah, it was in Aquarius and in Leo, those past ones, which that's where our North and South node transits were. But they hold, I feel like those are the renegotiation times. I feel that those contracts, and with everyone, with your children, with your siblings, with your coworkers, friends, I don't go up to them talking about, man, we got a contract, we got to renegotiate this friendship. Speak as if you're going to speak. Okay, this is what's up. This is what's not. Moving forward, how are we going to deal with this? How are we going to handle this? Is this worth going further with? Is this worth keeping? Is this something where we've reached the end of the line? Just everything. And with family, I guess it's harder to be like, damn, we reached the end of the line. But then there's times when, because the contract is being dragged out and it's actually come to its expiration date, and people try to force something to continue, that it starts to falter, and starts to fade very dramatically, drastically. Blow ups and hurt words and resentments and all kinds of stuff. And it's like, well, damn, had you taken the time to renegotiate the contract, you may not be in this. So let me get off of the technical, ways of describing it. I'm just giving you a reference point so you have something to compare it to. Energetically, a lot of people don't know that they're under contract. So they don't know why they have to keep going back and forth. They go back to this lover and leave. Go back to this lover and leave. You have certain conditions to meet. You have certain objectives for why you're paired with this specific person. And a lot of times it's for the growth that you both need. They're there to help you meet a specific need, or to fulfill a certain portion of your growth that nobody else can actually help you with. This one person, or this group of people, they're actually equipped to assist you in learning that lesson in order to move on to the next contract. Like, you're a private contractor, you're being given these gigs and stuff. Like, you have to fulfill the obligation first. And I want people to stop getting so much in the feelings of it and start looking at the logistics, only to detach from who it involves. If you stay attached to who it involves, you may never break the contract, or not break. You may never fulfill the contract. You may never want it to end. You may never learn the lesson, because you're so attached to who who it is, what has happened during the contract, that you're missing the point. You're missing the obvious, the elephant in the room. It's very present, and you're gonna keep being reminded, and it's gonna bring up memories. It's gonna bring up certain memories from your past that don't even involve them, but it's gonna have you recall. Like, man, that was weird. Where did that come from? I forgot about that memory, or I forgot about that person I encountered. Or it's gonna give you little traces, pieces of your own puzzle to fit together, to help you better understand what behavioral pattern, what tendency, what shadow is attached, what part of the shadow is attached to it that you're not actually fully embodying, embracing, something that you're avoidant of, something you're obsessed with, something that you're afraid of. It's going to point to that, but it's going to have you dig into, like, the frustration is going to be so obvious to you, because you just will start to, when you don't readily get the lesson, and it's cost you a lot. There's a lot of bees out here. They like to climb on my legs and shit, like some kind of flower or something. But it's gonna make you be like, damn, why was that person attracted to me? Why was I attracted to that person? If you don't ask those questions, you may start, when it gets so repugnant, so distasteful, so belligerent, so like you can no longer digest what's happening. You start to question, like, what was this for? Why is this person around? Why the fuck did I never got to that point. I guess because I was catching on little by little by little by little, and I was, interested to see what else was in the contract. I was interested to see what else I could learn from it. Eternal learner, that's just me. I'm a little hard-headed sometimes too. But some people get to the point where they are like, they just want to run to the other side of the country and never see this person again, never talk to them, never do this, never do that, never ever, if I never see this person again, I would be fine. And the contract's not done. You have an energetic tie to this person to where, um, within my experience, because someone else's contract was still present and I was connecting to this person, they were allowing me a connection to them. This other person felt it and energetically, spiritually contacted me, showed herself to me. And it was like, this happened on more than one occasion and more than one contract, okay? And that's where, because I detached, I learned how to, well, basically open up my line of sight just to be open, allowing, instead of wanting a specific outcome. It was, be as it may, come as it what will be, just flowing free, right? So with that freedom, that peace, that sovereignty, that I am me, whatever happens, happens. You know, talking with my spirit guides and more guardians and guides that I've come to encounter. It it was very enlightening to experience and to see, and it was because I was detached from it, and I was like, that's the thing. A lot of people's sight is blocked because of how emotionally attached and how their projection of what they want to transpire with this person, or who they believe this person is to be in their life, it clouds their vision. And it's like, Spirit's like, well, we can't give them the truth because they can't handle it, or they'll deny it, or they'll ignore it. So therefore, we're just going to let them run with their projections, run with their assumptions, their conjured imagination of what this is supposed to be. They're not ready to learn the lesson. So we're just going to keep them back a grade or two until they're ready to graduate this lesson, until they're studying what's happening and actually learning the material, because it's going to be useful later on. That's why you're encountering it now. This is a sore spot. This is a weak point within your spirit. That's why you're here to experience it, and you're tied to certain people contractually in order to dig deeper as to why this is a weakness for you, or what perceived weakness. This is something that you feel is weak about yourself, or is an insecurity of self, or is a hindrance to your spiritual growth. So that's why you're contractually bound to learn these lessons with specific people. Some people are life partners. Some people are just soulmates. Some people are um, just passers-by. And some people are your sworn enemy, but there's so much like you that contractually you just can't get away from this person and keep bumping heads. You don't understand. You two are learning the same lesson, but your ego is trying to do it separate from the other person who's contractually bound to you. So that's where the animosity and stuff comes from. There's a separation between heart and mind, or heart and ego, and it's causing friction within the spirit. So now you're distorting love as an emotion. You're distorting love, that unconditional peace. You take a piece off and now you've molded it into something else, and that is a distortion of love itself. That's why you have all these other types of emotions that can crop up. You have admiration, that's a form of love. You have appreciation, gratitude, all these different emotions that we feel. um, that's You've felt every single emotion that exists. Horror, um, petrified, um, elation, celebration, acceptance. You felt all these variations of the love vibration. Some for better, some for worse. It depends on how you feel about it. But it comes from one specific source. So you can go back to these different contracts that have already passed or that you're still currently in, knuckle, that are still running, that are still in full effect, and you can choose which variation of the love vibration that you choose to feel when dealing with this person. Apply it to every situation that you've been in. An alternative conversation that could have transpired, an alternative reaction to something that they've done, with the knowledge that it is a contract and you have to play it out. So even if you're, say you're on a team with, a basketball team or a baseball team, soccer, volleyball, whatever, and you're not tight with your, you're not tight with your team, but you have to work together to get it done. You want to win the championship. You want to do well. You want to ride out the season with the best mood. You don't want to go to practice upset or be associated with people that you don't care about or that you don't, you know what I'm saying? There's still a level of connectedness. There's still a level of, we're tied to this together. We might as well just get our shit together. Titans. What's that movie? The Remember the Titans. Something to that effect. And I heard it in my head. Oh, last night. The song they were singing. Okay, I get it now. Oh, I get it. Oh, the vision I had. Okay, I was okay. That makes sense. I surprised myself still, but that's great. So that's that's what I have right now, because I feel like any other explanation or further prodding, it will. I know there's some people with questions already, so just bring them in and whatnot. Email me the questions. Don't leave them in the comments. Um, yeah, so I can answer your questions, and other people may need to hear the response or the answer or the channel message that comes along with it. True, and if you feel that you want to share that with others, I can make a video on it. You know what I'm saying? But just for confidentiality and different things like that, your protection and my protection, email me mystiqmadam mysticmadam@gmail.com. It's open for discussion. Now we got all these contracts with people, and a lot of people don't even understand what the fuck is going on. But once you can start seeing it out the eyes of a business deal, seventh house, Libra, full moon coming up, you can see everything as a fucking business deal, or put it in that context. You can start to separate and detach yourself from the personal associations that you have with people in order to fulfill them, in order to see the terms and conditions or the lessons or the payout or the finished product of what you're supposed to be creating with this person, or what you're supposed to graduate from with this person, because they have a similar lesson. That's why they're paired to you at this specific vibration. You have something very specific, and if you keep having a reoccurring pattern, no matter who the person is, it's one specific contract that keeps playing out, and anything else that you try to throw in there, it'll kind of get debunked or bounce off. It will not go, because you already have a contract that needs finality and needs a conclusion. So that's what I have on contracts. I hope it helped. Yeah, so just let me know.